Everybody. So I seen this movie. The beginning of it. And I don't remember if I did this already, but I just wanted to do it again because it's been on my mind. But I seen the beginning of this Interstellar on Fox. And I'm gonna play it without the sound because I don't know about copy strikes and stuff like that. But it has the subtitles. So it says, you're here with your daughter. They just got well. Here's the thing. The lead up is they just finished talking about his son. They just finished talking about how he's paying his taxes, so his taxes should afford his son to go to college. But they're saying based on his scores during whatever time this is in the future, since his test scores at school, the public schools were not good enough, he doesn't qualify for college, even though his dad's paying taxes. You know, kind of like what was it, San Francisco? You know, you live in the city for a whole year, then you get to go to school for free and based off the taxpayers paying your tax, huh? And they're like, oh well, the world doesn't need more engineers and so on and so forth. We need farmers because the world ran out of food. Why did it run out of food? I don't know. Maybe because all these corporations are buying up all the seeds, and they're giving us seeds that don't replenish themselves. They're forcing farmers to use seeds that only are good for one time instead of multiple times. Like what I mean by not the seed itself, but it bears its fruit and it's done. You can't take the seeds from the fruit or the vegetable and plant it in the ground and and expect a harvest. Nope, it won't grow anything. You got to actually go back and buy more seeds from these companies that are modifying modifying through genetic engineering the seeds. So his son doesn't get to choose his future. Doesn't get to choose what he wants to do. Doesn't get the opportunity to go to college. It is strictly your test score says this. So based off of this, we know that you're not bright. You can, through years of studying, further your education. You just need to go off and become a farmer because we need more food. And there was another thing. They chased down a drone in the beginning of the movie. That's what caught my eye. There was a drone flying around, and they were talking about just the things they said. They said, what was it? They chased down the drone. They hacked into it while they were chasing it down. And his daughter was all upset. She's like, why do we have to hurt it? Or why do we have to take it down? Can't we just let it go? And he's like, no. She's like, well, there's no more armies anymore. And she said, and it's not hurting anyone, so why can't we just let it go? And that, it was just those things about the no more armies and they're not hurting anyone, So I'm like, what are you planning on drones doing in the future? Isn't it always the fear of the, I've always heard like those Caucasian guys afraid that Obama, he's killing all these people and he's going to do away with the army and no more boys and girls going away and so on and so forth. So, just listening to that, I just like, wait, this stuff's catching my fancy. So I was watching it, and then this scene right here and everything that's been going on, with the whole Steph Curry, getting ridiculed and those guys. I just thought this was interesting, that this was in this movie. So they just finished up talking about his son, and his son doesn't have a future but to be a farmer. And now they're getting to his daughter. She's a great kid. She's really bright. Bright's that Freemason stuff. There was a gentleman who broke down the word. Why do we use the word bright to indicate your intelligence? Is because they act like we're in a world of darkness, or our knowledge that we have is being taught to us in school is useless and a waste of space compared to what they meaning those that are in the knowledge and know what's going on, what they teach their children at the age of 6 and 7 and 8. We're teaching our children, ridiculous stuff where our children are watching cartoons when they should be, learning things of real substance, things of importance that allow them to get ahead in life. Like, I mean, I want to know how stupid I am. And I can say this in all honesty. There was a brother, I was watching him, not watching, I was working last night, but I was listening to him. Just put on his video, and he was talking about the different things you need to know about discharging debt, 10 different things, right? And he mentioned something that out of all this time, I'm, listening to experts, trying to read whatever I can, listening to what they say, stopping, Googling what they say, or searching whatever they say and reading. He mentioned something that no one else has mentioned so far. He said, get yourself a banking dictionary. I was like, I didn't even know those things even existed, man. All this time. So I went and downloaded a banking dictionary. Now reading, redemption. What is a redemption? What is was it a zero? It was something else that was like a zero redemption. No, not redemption. Why I keep saying redemption? It's a zero bond, something or other, and it's just different things that I had no idea even existed. There was hundreds and hundreds of words in there. I'm like, that's the stuff I should have been looking into. I mean, I should be looking into status, Roman status, colonial laws, right, and banking laws to figure out how to tie this all together to get out of what they have me in. That's it, right? And so it's like, what was I learning in school when I went to public school? What was I learning in private school? I learned nothing in homeschooling. Nothing. You know? And now here I am, in my late 20s, almost 30 now, and all I do is just spend time having to relearn because I didn't learn anything of value, in my opinion. I really didn't. I'm learning more now that I'm out of the school, I'm out of high school. I've learned now more in my free time, my spare time, of things of value. I've listened to people who will give us things of value, and I go and look things up. I've learned more now, and I wish I would have never wasted my time in those schools. I really do. I'm writing all down the stuff that I'm learning, and I'm reading it to my sons, right? And I know, it's not enough to, to just read it to them. So I'm explaining this stuff to them, and they're young, and I go over it every day. I mean, they've heard, Merriam-Webster's definition of 1828 definition of American several times now. I've been going over the whole what's the Title 13 USC code. I can't remember the last two parts of it, but it's about the name, the all capital name being a fraud. So they know that that's not them when they're in school and they're being taught to identify that your name is Lamar. No, it's not. Separate the two. You got to know the difference. But getting back to this, they get to his daughter, and they were, like I said, getting back to that, there was a gentleman that was pointing out that the Freemasons feel that as you gain knowledge, you're gaining the light, right? And the more intelligent you are compared to your contemporaries, the more brighter you are because you have more knowledge, therefore you are bright. You shine bright. But she's been having a little trouble lately. Let's see. She brought this into show the students the section on the lunar landings. And what does she say? He's all proud because he's an engineer himself. He said, yeah, one of my old textbooks. And she says she always loved the pictures. And then she says here, it's an old federal textbook. We've replaced them with the correct versions. So that's another thing. And I know I'm not doing a good job at this, but I should have looked that up to see, in fact, there are the books that are being taught in schools right now, still federal textbooks. Despite the fact that we have learned what we've learned. And there was something else while I'm on that. There was a gentleman that these two brothers, they're from Chicago. They were doing some videos talking about how we were Indians. It was like a 4-year-old video, 6-year-old video, something like that. They were talking about how we were Indians, and their textbooks told us that we were Indians. They were talking about the Pisos family. That's what it was. They were talking about the Piso family and how the old textbooks in Chicago used to tell you that the Piso family were the authors of the New Testament. But they said the problem they ran into is when they tried to collect those old history books, right, that explained that they were already been replaced, and now they can't track down what they did with them. Did they burn them? Did they destroy them? Did they put them in a warehouse somewhere? That's what it was. Yeah. Yep. As always, they said every 5 to 7 years they replace all textbooks. I mean, that's where it burned me up because I was like, man, I wish I could go back to like Mississippi, or maybe that's a bad example. Maybe Louisiana, to our old schools. When I was thinking about Mississippi, I was thinking like Noches or something like that. To our old schools and to our old schoolhouses, and seeing what we wrote what we were teaching our, what we were being taught by our elders in class when we had, all this. What did our history books say? You know, he said corrected, and yeah, how the lunar lander missions were faked to bankrupt the Soviet Union. And that's what our the corrected versions. So when you get a textbook that now says that the lunar landings were faked to bankrupt the Soviet Union, you know where they got it from, or where they prepared our minds, I should say. But I'm not saying they're all correct in this stuff because, I mean, look at the new textbooks in Georgia. Not Georgia, why am I messing up, man? New textbooks in Texas, right? Don't they say that there was no slavery? We were brought over here with everybody else, got off the boats in one of the harbors, couldn't find work. So all these white guys had all this land over here, needed farmers, and we farmed for them, and they just couldn't pay us because they were so broke. But we worked together to build up this great country, He said, you don't believe we went to the moon? It was a brilliant piece of propaganda. So the Soviet bankrupted themselves, pouring resource into rockets and other useless machines. Useless machines. He said, that's the other thing. They talk about how we, in the 21st century, we were so wasteful. The credit card spending, buying, never paying off debt, things like that nature. They go into a little bit here, teaching our kids to be more disciplined and stuff like that. Oh no, I guess that's the end of that. No, not watching it. Don't want to see any of that. All right. Well, that was that. Like I said, everything going on. I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, if you can get yourself get your hands on the colonial laws, because I've been learning that the colonial laws is the classification laws. At least that's how it was presented to me here recently. You want to learn how they classified you, get the colonial laws, and then use the colonial laws to classify yourself correctly. I'm still trying to get my hands on the Spanish ones for Florida. Every time I try to find it, I keep getting sent back to the State Department for Florida's website to try to gather them. But I was told that that's where you're gonna find the secret to how do you go back and reclassify yourself to the correct status, and then what status was during that time period. There was something else. Oh yeah, like I said, get yourself a banking dictionary. Start learning the terms. I find it that they're more straightforward, like the YouTube author was explaining when you're doing that. Because Black's Law dictionaries, they have a lot of that stuff in there, but this is more to the point. In their examples, seem like they're more to the point. And I like that. I actually like it. I'm just going through there. And there was something else, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, I got something for you. And if you want to go ahead and jump ahead, go ahead. Cherokee Princess. Chief Langley broke down Cherokee Princess, right? And I went to Google Scholar and looked up what he was talking about. Cherokee princesses were concubines were used as concubines by their captors on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. And they've written books and blogs that explain this. I had no idea. So, like now, when I see these, Caucasians all like, oh, I'm a Cherokee princess. I'm like, you're a what? Well, tu necesito dinero? How much, huh? No, I'm just being an idiot. No, it's just stupid now. It's stupid as heck, so that's something that I wanted to try to do something on. Read some of the PDFs to show you what I had found once he had pointed that out. And Chief Langley also pointed out something that I thought was interesting too. In South Carolina, they have the records of the 7 tribes, African tribes that sold slaves to the Americas. I didn't know that. I had no idea that any of them had the records of them. So that was another thing I wanted to cover, read, try to get it down pat, and then show you if you haven't already seen it. So anyways, take care, everybody.